In the heart of our great nation, where the strength of our communities is built upon the foundation of strong and loving families, an urgent crisis is unfolding. Child Protective Services, CPS, an institution designed to safeguard our most vulnerable, has in many cases betrayed its noble mission. Too often, families are torn apart not by neglect or abuse, but by systemic failures and corruption. We can no longer stand idly by as these injustices continue. We are here to give a voice to those who have been isolated, to shine a light on the corruption, and to rally our fellow citizens in this critical fight for justice. Every day, countless families are caught in a web of bureaucracy and abuse of power, their lives disrupted and their bonds shattered. Children, who should be nurtured and protected, are instead placed in situations that can be just as, if not more, harmful than the circumstances from which they were taken. Parents, often bewildered and powerless, face insurmountable odds as they fight to reunite with their children. This is not the America we believe in. We cannot allow these injustices to persist. Our mission is to educate, to inform, and to inspire action. We promise to bring you daily updates on CPS, exposing the truth and fighting for reform. We must remember that the future of our nation depends on the strength and unity of our families. By standing together, we can hold CPS accountable and ensure that it fulfills its true purpose, protecting children and preserving families. This is a fight we must not and will not lose. We are committed to saving our families and securing a brighter future for all. The road ahead is challenging, but with your support, we can make a difference. Together, we will bring hope to those who have lost it and ensure that justice prevails. Let us unite with unwavering resolve and a sense of patriotic duty to safeguard the integrity of our families and the future of our nation. The children in our country are being made to be the victim of a situation they are not involved, and then sent to a foster home where they again are reintroduced to trauma of being the odd ball. Our courts are contaminated with young, inexperienced caseworkers and polluted with bribes, high-priced bonuses for speedy adoption of terminated parents, and judges who don't practice law with the Constitution in their sights. This is a problem. George Washington never thought of children as pawn in the game of freedom and American values, and never had he wanted to sell them. They were from his maker, his creator. Our children are being run down for no other reason than the profits being made in some way. Somehow these government agencies make money hand over fist day in and day out. They have you go to classes that they are billing for, and there is no viable reason for you to attend. Yet when you hear an update, CPS tells you that you're further away from when you started. Reunification is your goal, not theirs, and after you go through 12+ months of grueling, painstaking classes and meetings, all while getting the slimmest amount of time to visit your child, and even worst, you are always supervised, never alone again with your child. It's awful. How do they feel, do you think?
Where's the outrage? Why is nobody standing up for these families being torn apart by CPS?
Please don't tell me you're going to put all your bets on this superhero. You grown-ups are supposed to be coming to his rescue. Stop ignoring this problem. There is nothing more I can say to any of you. Please fight CPS and help those who have lost so much they can help themselves.
The children in our country are being made to be the victim of a situation they are not involved, and then sent to a foster home where they again are reintroduced to trauma of being the odd ball. Our courts are contaminated with young, inexperienced caseworkers and polluted with bribes, high-priced bonuses for speedy adoption of terminated parents, and judges who don't practice law with the Constitution in their sights. This is a problem. George Washington never thought of children as pawn in the game of freedom and American values, and never had he wanted to sell them. They were from his maker, his creator. Our children are being run down for no other reason than the profits being made in some way. Somehow these government agencies make money hand over fist day in and day out. They have you go to classes that they are billing for, and there is no viable reason for you to attend. Yet when you hear an update, CPS tells you that you're further away from when you started. Reunification is your goal, not theirs. And after you go through 12+ months of grueling, painstaking classes and meetings, all while getting the slimmest amount of time to visit your child, and even worst, you are always supervised, never alone again with your child. It's awful. How do they feel, do you think?
Where's the outrage? Why is nobody standing up for these families being torn apart by CPS?
Please don't tell me you're going to put all your bets on this superhero. You grown-ups are supposed to be coming to his rescue. Stop ignoring this problem. There is nothing more I can say to any of you. Please fight CPS and help those who have lost so much they can help themselves.
All right, everybody. It is me, your host, the CPS Punisher. It is CPS Victims Hunting Justice. And I'm behind this black screen right now because I'm trying to get my camera to come on. Let's see here. Come on, camera. Turn on. No, it doesn't want to yet. But we'll keep working on that. But what we do have here is the chat is up and running. So we have that. And we do have some people standing by. They're going to give us a hand in the show tonight. Some nice co-hosts and some people that are going to be reporting on stuff. It's been brought to our attention, for all this time, we have always spoken about what ifs and but let's talk about the legal stuff, right? Never have we talked about what it is that brings CPS to the table for us. We never really talked about how CPS comes into our houses, and we're not talking about just from the door, we're talking about from day one. Like, where do they come from? How do they get here? What brings them in? So we've tasked Herbert actually took it upon himself to start doing the research with this stuff. And it's going to blow your mind, the things that CPS does to get into your house, or what brings them there. It's going to be things that you never thought of. It's things that you couldn't even imagine, like things before that you've been like, what? Wait a minute. What are you talking about? There's no way that is. But it's the strangest thing. And here I am, I believe. Please work. Yes, say it right. Thank you. Wait. So it's the strangest thing because we don't know what to look for, right? Like if a lot of us say that, no, CPS just came into our lives, but something brought them here, right? Something has happened that brought CPS to the table, and we got to look into what that is. So I'm going to bring Herbert out here, and let's see here. See my lights right. Herbert, you ready, buddy? Come on out.
Yep, I'm here.
All right, Herbert, how are you, buddy?
Fine. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm a little stressed out, but I'm doing okay. So Herbert, let's talk about this for a minute, because when you were just talking to me on the phone about the things that you had sent me today, I never even thought about the kids. Let's say the kids are on the news station, right? And the news is down there taking B-roll footage, and there's your kid running around, ass naked, right? And it's 122 degrees out. That's the reason that you're going to call CPS, right? Like people are going to call and say, hey, this person has these kids out there. It's scorching hot out. Yada yada yada. You need to do something. Or what are some of these other instances, Herbert, that you're saying to me?
There are a lot of incidences along that line. First of all, let's discuss. I'm showing the book so people can see it.
Yeah, how to avoid CPS.
People should pick up this little guide. It's a guide, how to avoid CPS. You can order it maybe from Amazon or bookstores or whatever, library. I would say look at Amazon Prime. You could probably order it there. And what you'll learn from it is that how to avoid CPS, there's two types of child abuse. There's neglect and there's abuse. Neglect means the child is lacking basic needs. Abuse means physical harm to the child. Abuse can also be a threat of physical harm, just a threat of physical harm. A person can be guilty of either abuse or neglect just basically through their actions or their inactions. So the inaction of doing something could be considered neglect, or your actions could be neglect. Why is there a child running around the streets with the diapers on 3 o'clock in the morning? That's a target right there, CPS.
Right.
Why are you taking your child up into the Arizona mountains at 113 degrees and then wondering why the child is dead and helicoptered out to the hospital? That's neglect.
Okay.
You have a child on a boat. They're not wearing a buoyancy vest. The child falls off and drowns. That's neglect.
Yep.
You're spanking the child, which is okay. You're spanking the child, but you're doing it with anger. That's neglect.
Well, that's abuse, no?
That's abuse. That's abuse. That's abuse. That's not neglect. That's abuse. But right. You're not just spanking them to spank to correct an action. You're spanking a child, and you're doing it with anger because you're angry at your boss for some reason, and a child wants some extra ice cream, and you start slapping and hitting the child.
Right.
That's abuse.
You come home and you start snapping at your kid, and you're unloading on him because you're mad at someone else. Got you.
That's what I mean. Yes.
So, yeah. So I'm going to bring in.
You're told by your medical doctor that your child needs a certain medication, and your attitude is, well, no, it doesn't, because when I was young, I had the same kind of fever, and my mother gave me something that grew out of the ground, and that helped my condition. Well, maybe that's something that grows out of the ground doesn't help your child's condition because the doctor already told you what medicine to use. You don't use it. Now the child gets even more sick. The doctor's obligated to call CPS.
Yep. That's a whole nother game in itself too, because that's the that they're forced into calling in. Like to make
Mandatory reporting.
right. So I'm gonna bring in Vinny and I'm gonna bring in Mandy and Martin here. I don't know if it's Mandy and Martin or if it's Vinny. I'm not sure which one. If we got them both, I hope we got them both, all whatever. But here's Vinny. How we doing tonight, Vinny?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you guys itself?
Well, we're doing what we can do with the things God gave us.
Yeah.
Mandy, Martin, how you guys doing? Good.
Hello.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
So you
Hi.
guys are hearing this, right? You guys are hearing what we're
What's
talking.
that?
I
Yeah.
said you guys heard.
Of
Well,
course.
how do you? So think about it this way: were you aware that these things, like in your day-to-day activities, how much stuff took place that you wouldn't even have thought that? I mean, like how many things did you do as a parent that you wouldn't even think is reportable, but someone else's eye is looking at you and they're like, "Man, I'm going to go ahead and call CPS on those people." Like, for instance, like you said, like going hiking in a mountain. I mean, we've all done outdoor stuff since we were all kids, especially up here in Maine. Anybody that does, like you've always gone outdoors with your parents, going fishing, you've gone hiking, you've gone, you guys are down in Florida, same thing. But I guess Herbert's right. Someone could call up and say, hey, they're up here climbing a mountain. This is abuse. You guys live in Florida. It's 120 degrees down there every day. You know what I mean? So like people are like, oh, they're doing this stuff with their kid. This is abuse. Like all of that. So there's eyes all over the place to be calling out to your kids.
Darren, are we on the same time? Are we coming in delayed for you?
I don't. Why am I delayed? Do I seem delayed?
No, no, it just seemed that way from our end. But just to make sure that we're not, I can go ahead and answer that question because it's a really good topic. I mean, first of all, if someone has their kid out in 115-degree weather or whatever, I think that is abuse. but that's children, and especially children, because they're small and they need much more than we do. We're adults and we've got we're weathered. We shouldn't do it either. Really, no one should be out during that time.
Yeah.
But, listening to Herbert talk about his definition of what abuse is and neglect are, that's very standard. That is very. I think that Herbert is a great example of America and the mindset of America, and what people think naturally. What I thought naturally when I, even up until like the very end. What's ironic is that I just don't, those people that you're thinking of, that example of abuse, in my experience, and my experience is extremely limited, but that stuff doesn't get reported. That stuff doesn't get it seems that those kids that actually are abused are not typically the ones that are sought after.
Well, this is the thing. Are they really being abused? Is that really abuse in your mind? Is that abuse? Because here's Black's Law Dictionary definition of abuse right here. A departure from legal or reasonable misuse. So we know that's not it. Physical or mental maltreatment, often resulting in mental, emotional, sexual, or physical injuries. That is what abuse is in the Black's Law Dictionary. So we've got physical or mental maltreatment, often resulting in mental, emotional, or sexual or physical injury. So that are the guidelines of abuse. All right.
And that's all very valid. I mean, and that is, I think that happens when you talk about mental abuse and stuff like that. That happens kind of on different. There's different levels. There's kind of like a scale from 0 to 100, and we all fall in there somewhere. And the thing is what happens is the potential. Herbert, you mentioned that there's a potential for abuse. If what their actions are, or even their non-action, or whatever it may, if we just decide that they may choose to abuse their kid, or without even knowing it, they may abuse their kid, then they take it upon themselves to call that abuse, and that's kind of a gross use of the Constitution, and a gross way of using things because it's so subjective, and it seems that even throughout the statutory or the statutes that go along with each state, it is all subjective. Every single thing is, every single law, every single amendment, every single statute, it's subjective, so that they can say, so it can be taken this way or this way depending on whoever is the chooser and what they're deciding to say. Because
All right, let me give you an example of just some recent stuff that happened in Arizona. You guys can Google it. Google 10-year-old child died in South Mountain, Phoenix, Arizona.
I
Just
seen
Google
that. I seen it on TikTok today. Yep.
Yeah, look at the one at Lake Havasu. Infant child dies in heat exhaustion. Lake
Yes.
Havasu. I could give you blow by blow. As we speak, it's happening right now. It'll be on TV tomorrow. It'll be in the news tomorrow. People are dying right now. Who are these people? These are people who are visiting the state that don't understand our heat.
yes,
We have a dry heat. You don't sweat. You're not sweating like you would in Florida. So the fact
Right.
that you don't sweat, you think you could go up the mountain with one bottle of water and stay out for 2 to 3 hours.
and that is a tragedy. That is a tragic, not even now so isolated situation. I don't think it applies to DC Athens. It is a form of abuse.
Oh! I want to show you how it applies. You lost the one child. You have 3 children. You lost one child up in the mountains. It died. You got 2 other children. You just invited CPS into your home.
I think you invited the police into. That's like
No. The police is the least of your worry. You now have CPS on you because you have 2 other live children.
Yeah.
And because of negligence, because of your negligence on the one child you lost, the police will just take a report, and CPS will be with you for the rest of your life until those kids become 18 years old.
Yeah.
Jenny, what's your
that
thoughts on this?
is such a tragedy. I don't know. I don't really know how to respond to that because
The tragedy is you just invited CPS into your home.
Right.
yes, and they will
Jenny,
come
what's
whether
your
they're
thoughts?
needed or not.
They're coming because you have other children.
Right?
Jenny, what's your thoughts?
My thoughts on that is that, they'll come into your life any way that they possibly can. Studies are showing, from what I sent to Darren today, these algorithms of this computer that they're using and the AI system not only is searching once when someone calls on you, it is searching a forever algorithm looking through everything, so they can pull up from anywhere from when you were a kid up until now.
Right, they're using.
That is so frightening.
That's unconstitutional. It's unconstitutional.
Well, our governor, we're in Florida, and our governor just signed a bill allowing Governor DeSantis, who was in the presidential election, he was up for that but didn't make it. He just signed a bill where we have now a list. So every expecting mother is put on this list, and they're using it. They're saying that it's for resources. They're providing all pregnant moms resources, but what they're doing also is they're taking the information. They know when the baby is born. They know, like, there's no privacy on that front. It's now it's all logged. So what you're talking about, this is where it gets scary. Universally as a whole country, everything that's going on. But there's good and there's bad, but it's pretty scary that every single mom is being notated and watched and can have her child taken.
And the system they're using, they just implemented last year, and it's throughout the United States of CPS. It's throughout their entire system.
Get this, guys. You guys just.
This,
Get this. You see who just logged in, right? That's Josie. Josie will tell you that the hell with the United States. They come to Canada and they did this up there, and that's how they got her granddaughter. Hey, Josie, how are you?
I'm good. Long time no to see, man.
I know it's been almost a month. How are you?
I'm good. I'm at the
Are you
cottage.
partying it
So
up
if
at
it's
the
lagging,
camp, or are you home now?
I'm at the cottage. So if it's lagging, it's
Yeah,
because of
you're at the cottage. Yeah. So we're talking about a little bit about abuse and neglect, but I mean, so up here in the United States now, Vincent's found that there's this computer called Katahdin, or program called Katahdin, that sifts through all of your information. That CPS was supposed to use it for intake. They're using it for every bit of their work now. I'm assuming that Canada probably has the same thing, and that's how they get these birthing alerts out, right? It must be.
Probably, but I was listening to that lady talk, and like that's exactly like she was saying, a potential risk of negligence. That's exactly what they took the baby from, a potential risk of negligence. But like, you know how like broad that is? That can be anybody. A woman can give birth and then go on be like on postpartum and then have a depression episode and be a potential risk. Like you can't, that's like so broad, a potential risk of negligence. Like it doesn't mean there was negligence, they're just scared of a potential, and because of her past, you know what I mean? Which is like you said, unconstitutional, but we don't have a constitution, but it goes against human rights, right? So
right, but Josie, the potential risk of negligence puts you on their radar. It doesn't mean they're going to do anything to you, but you're on their radar.
That's the
you're in their algorithm. No, it doesn't mean they're going to take your kid, but you're in their algorithm. So now you could have done one little thing that just sparked their ears up, and now all of a sudden you're on their radar.
Yeah,
you're in their algorithm.
Yeah.
Martin, what do you say about this, Martin? Martin, what say you, buddy?
Where's Martin?
Martin! You think you might be muted? Did you mute Martin, Mandy?
Martin, you got to push the button where you see the microphone.
I don't know. Sorry, Martin.
She's trying to talk. I think she lost sound.
She's got to turn the mic on.
I was just screaming at my dog. I wasn't talking to you guys.
Oh, no. We're trying to get Martin to talk. Josie, so what's going on with you? You got any news?
So last week was my private complaint.
Yeah, how did that go?
He fucking refused it.
Why?
He like babbled off a whole bunch of words, and he was reading off something, and I was like trying to process what was going on, and then at the end he said you should have went and done a complaint at the police, right? And then he goes private complaint, I refuse it, blah blah, and then he's like, that's it. And then after the special constable was behind me, and he's like, get up, because the judge like went and stood up, and I was like, am I allowed to talk? And then he got up and he's like, I'm done, I made my ruling, and he left. And I was like, is that what you're gonna do? You're not even gonna give me permission to talk? And he flew. And I was so mad. I did a TikTok. I already had like 33,000 views on my TikTok saying like that I was pissed, man. So it's okay. This is okay, because I planned, because I'm always 2 steps ahead, right? So the week prior, they wouldn't let me. They kept trying to say that they didn't know when my trial was going to be, but I knew for a long time it was the 9th of July, right? He told me the date, right? And so I wrote an email saying that the courthouse would not let me hand in my evidence for the court, blah blah, because they pretended to not know where my case was. And so I said, I wrote to the judge, I CC'd the Minister of Justice, I CC'd the Minister of DPG, my mayor, everybody, saying what was going on. And so So I'm just gonna keep going up now because this just proves that they're all just part of the whole big shabam. He would not even listen to me.
That's fucked. That is so fucked. That is so. It's you fought for the past year to get to that point, and then in a minute. What did that take? 23 seconds for him to do this?
Yeah, exactly. But
and then they just smash you in the face like, sorry, no good, bye.
100%.
And then that's it. They leave you like that. That's so ridiculous. I talk about this a lot because they say that losing a kid to termination of parental rights is like the death penalty. And it is, except for the people in the death penalty get like 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 appeals. And, like sometimes they don't even die on death row or to the the death penalty. They die in jails. So I don't understand, where this stuff comes from or how they come from it, even comparison to that. I get it because you're right. It is like the death penalty. It's all of alls. But no way. Even prisoners on death row get more rights than parents do that have had their rights terminated. And this is sick,
But do you guys want to see something cool?
Oh, yes. Ah, she's got the baby.
I have her for a sleepover tonight.
Oh, sweet. That's awesome. That's so awesome. Good for you. That is so awesome. That is
Congrats.
awesome. Oh, I woke her up. Damn it.
That's
Congratulations.
That is so awesome, Josie. Good for you. That is so awesome. That's a long time coming right there.
I know.
So
Carrie,
I got some news for you guys.
What do you got?
So today I had an interview, so I had to go out. Obviously, most of you know I'm under house arrest. So I got to go to my interview, and while I'm out, I stopped by the bank to have some papers notarized. And today I served my fifth worker a violation under color of law.
Oh, sweet. Good for you, man. Good for you. Have you gotten any responses?
I sent a copy of it to the worker, and she has not replied since.
So, yeah, Josie, what's your next move? Because we were all kind of following you, hoping that you were going to lay down some suit in Canada.
Oh, I know, me too. I was hoping it was going to be done. So now my next move is I'm going to wait to the judgment so like I can reread what he said because he just like babbled it all. So I should get that this week. And then as soon as I get that, then I'm going to go up. I'm going to go to Superior Court, and I'm just going to keep going and keep going and keep going.
Yeah, that's all we can do. That's all we can do is just keep fighting.
Oh,
there she is.
Au revoir. Au revoir.
Everything's going great. Then I could. I'm assuming now everything's going much better.
Oh, so much better. But
is this her first
I'm not
cottage
done
visit?
fighting, and that's what people need to understand is that yes,
Right.
I have the privileges of having her back in my life, but what they made us miss out and what they're doing to other families, no, I'm not done this fight.
Good for you. Thank you for that.
Tell her that Herbert said au revoir.
Herbert, she can hear you. She's right underneath you.
Can the baby hear me? Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. She sure can. That's freaking awesome, Josie. Good for you. So, do you have any more court cases that are lined up for anything, or are you just kind of like?
Did I tell you about my other my criminal one about me? So we were supposed to go back the next week. Remember?
Yeah.
For my death threat. So the 1 week, and then one of the people didn't show up, and then he ordered everybody to go to the following week. The following week, they said that there was another case, so they dismissed my case, and then they said in November, and then I was like, "What? This is going to be too long." And then they told me the judge told me, he's like, "If we passed your delay of 18 months, you can ask for the law of Jordan, which means that my case would be dismissed because it didn't reach the 18-month goal of having a proper trial. But I'm like, no,
Oh, you
I
didn't
want
to,
to
right?
have that trial because I want to show that they lied.
Mhm. Right. But they're going to try to push you to have that rule, aren't they?
But do you see how like corrupt this
Because
is?
they don't want the truth. Right. They don't want the truth out there. They don't want you to get in there and question them. They don't want none of that. They want nothing to do with any of that. So they're going to let your stuff ride. Until you either give up or walk away, they'll dismiss it. You'll get tired of it, or so they think. We know damn well you're not going to forget about it or leave it alone.
Exactly. So basically, right now, the only next court date I have is in like November, and then because now it's summer, so nobody fucking works in the summer. So
right. Oh man, I'm just happy that you got your grandbaby with you. That's freaking awesome.
What about you guys? So what's going on with you?
With me, the Supreme Court came back and they said that my mandamus wasn't good for their try again. So now we're working that and going new directions because neither am I. I'm not done fighting, and even though I lost it, I didn't lose. They just said that my argument wasn't proper for that jurisdiction. So I already had Plan B anyway. So I fired Plan B back at them, and now I'm just waiting again to hear if they'll accept this. I mean, I got an arsenal. I've had plenty of time to read and learn and do all this stuff and to write and to just get this stuff ready. So, as fast as they're going to turn them down, I'll just keep firing them back at them, They have a lot of bad stuff. Vinny's up here in Maine, too. And Maine has so much corruption running through it right now, and it's so terrible what they're doing. And people up here, I believe, are starting to maybe wake up to it. But again, nobody wants to mess with this topic because they don't want CPS coming after them. They don't want to get on the side of you. They don't want to, you know what I mean? Like, people just don't want to have to deal with it until it comes to them. And that's been our new push. It's going to come to them. It's not if, it's when. Because they're coming. Like you said,
100%.
up there with you guys, they're in the schools with you already up there. If you mess up if your kid messes up in school 5 or 6 times, I forget what number you said, TPG comes to your school now. Instead of the parent getting the punishment, they are coming to TPG comes and says, all right, we got your control of your life now.
You know what else is coming around? So like a couple of weeks ago, there was a newspaper article that said, like us like the new generation, we're all like helicopter moms and like we're overprotective and everything with our kids.
Yep.
Okay. They literally had an article in the newspaper, and then I was like, "Oh, watch this." So the article, but it's in French, but I'll send it to you. It says that this is what it said, like word for word. It says that overprotecting your child is maltreatment. So can you imagine that now? So CPS is going to come back and they're going to be like, you're overprotecting your child. This is negligence. We're taking your baby away. This is what it said.
That is exactly it. That's what I was just discussing this with Herbert. They're just going to keep changing whatever is of the time. They're going to change the definition, or they're going to misuse it. They're going to use this vague words for whatever it is at that moment is the cause that they can get away with taking your child. That's why they're never going to give imminent danger a definition, a true definition to what is imminent danger. That's why abuse and neglect are still going to be vague. Oh, she's so pretty. And why this is why they're going to keep these things like this, because they will always have a reason to say, because Herbert might think different than me. Benny might think different than me, and you, Josie, might think different than me. All 4 of us could say the same thing about abuse and neglect. Every one of us has a different opinion on what it is and what it could be. And as long as they have that,
and that's what the lady was saying. Like what is being strict? Like, I might be stricter than another parent because that's how I got brought up. And someone was like, "Wow, you're strict." Well, I'm sorry. Like, no more like food after 8 o'clock. And someone was like, "Well, that's maltreatment."
Right. Yep, it's just they will just continuously go and go and go as long as they can. That's why you can't we're beating down the doors. What's imminent danger? What's neglect? What's abuse? What is this stuff? They're not telling you. It's still no definition.
He said it sounded
No
good
Exactly.
too. On the bed.
Like here it says, so this is the Black's Laws Dictionary. The omission of proper attention to a person or thing. Well, we know that that's not what it is. The failure to give proper attention, supervision, or necessities, especially to a child, to such an extent that harm results or is likely to result. That's the definition of neglect in Black Laws Dictionary. So there they have it open. It's open-ended. That's an open-ended definition. You know, whatever we think is going to be it, we'll tell you. And if we think that it's neglectful, well, we're going to tell you that that can be neglect too. It's disgusting. It's sick, and they're going to keep continuing to get away with this stuff. If I don't even know what to do. I don't know what. The only way that we can stop this is to stop the process that's happening. Because even though you try to talk and take away the kids from it from happening, you know, it's not going to. I had a great picture on my TikTok come through today, and it was a picture of Jeffrey Epstein, and on it said, "What if I told you I didn't even have to kidnap children? I just paid CPS to get them for me."
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how much truth to that there is, but it doesn't seem too far-fetched, does it?
No.
I seen the same post too. I got the same post.
Did you? Yeah. And I never even
Yeah.
thought about that. I'm like, holy shit. You know, like this is it. Like they're getting away. You know, I know we run those stats all the time. 84% of the kids that are found in human trafficking rings and all this stuff have somehow made their way through Child Protective Services out of the United States. 84% of the ones that they find. That's a big freaking number. That means the rest of the world takes up 16% of its kids, and probably 12% of that's Canada. If you really probably looked into it, I think this whole North American thing's got this covered because everybody else in the world talks about family and values and all of that stuff.
Darren, you should read that thing that I sent you today about what the Ombudsman's program said about the
I
CPS.
Yeah, well, did you deal with her at all? So when I was dealing with them, there was just that one lady. I'm not going to say her name, but and she said she was overbooked and all of that. I know between you and Herbert, you guys bombarded me. It was awesome. But if you want to paraphrase it up for everybody that's listening, what did it say?
They basically said that CPS is not doing their job, and they haven't been for the past couple of years.
Oh, that's what's her name? Yeah.
They're allowing the AI system to do their job.
That's crazy. But how does the Ombudsman defend that? I mean, they're paying for a technology now that is supposed to do all of this stuff. I mean, how do you get AI involved in such a situation then? You know, like how does that even, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I tried to make a complaint at the Ombudsman, and they're like, "Nope, not our department."
They won't listen. They will not listen. Nope.
Oh gosh, my computer's shut down. Hold on 1 second, guys. Talk for a second. I gotta plug my computer, and I moved it. And
no problem.
Can you bring Mandy back in?
I didn't kick her out. Is she here? There she is. Mandy and Martin.
Gary's
How are you doing, Herbert?
All right.
Gary's here too.
Oh yeah, cool.
Hi,
Excellent.
Young.
Thanks, Herbert.
All right.
Okay.
Goodness, I gotta find my
Yeah.
plug.
I just want you to know, Mandy, even though you're backstage, if your mic is on, we can still hear you.
Oh, no wonder. I was like, how did he know that we were waiting? I'm so sorry, guys. I didn't know that you could hear us the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Even though we don't see you, we can still hear you.
Right. Isn't that ironic? Because you could see me, you couldn't hear me. And then when you couldn't
Yeah, I
see me,
don't
you
have
could...
to. We don't see you. That's why I told Darren to bring you back up so you can see yourself. Then you know you're there.
Sorry about that. So we didn't.
See, a lot of times when you see me, I'll have my mic mute, and I could be talking to my wife. You guys can't even hear me.
Yeah.
Or I could just get rid of my picture completely. I just get rid of the picture. Boom, I'm gone. You see, but I'm still here, and then I can bring myself back again.
Herbert's gone. Martin, back to you, buddy.
And then
what is your definition of neglect?
What's that?
We didn't hear that.
We never got. We talked about the abuse thing. How do you feel about all this stuff?
Oh, yeah. He was asking me about.
Yeah, we were talking about abuse, neglect, how blah blah blah, and people's how they perceive it and all of that. And yeah, that's
it's kind of the same as the same old story. Like, you know, they go and get involved in cases that, you know, there's not really any need for them to be involved in, and then they don't get involved in the
Well,
case.
you say they get involved. How do they get involved? What I mean, they don't come knocking at your door and just says, "I'm involved." Something happened that brought them into your life.
Yeah, and it can be anything from
A neighbor that doesn't like you.
yeah,
Okay.
there is no
Okay.
end to the
Family
amount
members.
could start them to be in your life, and
Right.
it could be something
Okay.
that you're totally deserving of.
Hey, you know, Herbert, you're right that we need to make people aware and to keep DCF out of our lives. But the truth is, CPS can come into any one of our lives, whether instigated or not. It can just happen. So the idea of what you're saying of being prepared and being educated about CPS and their power is vital. It is so critical and so crucial because they don't need much. They do not need much to come in, or they don't, you know, they will come in like that, and they will use potentials. And you know, it just like Josie was just saying, and Josie, your child is so beautiful, both of you together.
That's her grandbaby. That's grandbaby.
Grandbaby. Oh, you do not look like a grandmother. Congratulations. And but so they can come in and use the potential as a means to terminate your rights forever. You can have one phone call into CPS, and that's it.
The one phone call into CPS as of about 3 or 4 months ago, if it's falsely reporting, it's a misdemeanor on a part of your neighbor
Unfortunately,
or one of your relatives. Or one of your relatives. Yeah, go ahead.
I wish that they had investigated that. I wish that
Yeah,
they
but
had.
that's
and
confidential.
well, you know, we weren't even.
They'll never report on it because it's confidential.
Right.
So whoever calls, it's made under the guise of being confidential. So, like she said, it can be a person that hates you on social media that can call. It can be anybody.
I think they're going to
But now
change
they
that rule, though.
They did change it. They changed it that they will investigate, and if they find it's false, it'll be a misdemeanor against the caller, against the complainant. So
Well, that's
therefore,
great.
they're reducing
They
the fabulous complaints that are coming in about people just because they don't like them.
Yeah, and you know, and then that still, it's all so subjective. It's all left up into the hands of the investigator, and you know, it's very subjective in that someone might not feel comfortable one day, and they might not like your haircut. I don't know. It's very temperamental. So everybody does need to be educated on what not to do, and of their rights, and to stand their ground and to not let people in. And you know exactly what Darren has and you guys have been working on this forum for, because it's a critical thing to try to correct after it's already happened. It's hard to go in and tell people, on and have them believe that you're anything other than having done something really wrong. You know, like
that's correct.
People who told me, I mean, I was teaching while going through a case, and it was the whole thing was hypocritical and wrong, but I can't convince anyone of that because.
Texas ends anonymous.
Oh, stop it. Yeah, that was lewd. We can't say that. That is much.
So, hey, listen to this. I'm going to come up with some scenarios here, and I want you guys to tell me if you guys think it's abuse or neglect. Now, there's no proper answers for these, so this is just throwing this out there. But, all right, taking your child swimming in a pool on a 115-degree day. Is that abuse or neglect?
No, as long as you're with the child. As long as you're with that child, and that child's in the water, and the child has sunblock on, that's not abuse. That's not neglect. Now, if you decide to walk inside to the to get something from the refrigerator and you left the child by the pool, that's neglect.
Okay.
This
Anybody
is
else
all
have thoughts on this one?
as well. If it's 115-degree weather, you need to stay inside.
Should go find another state.
Live it, yeah, move.
Right, right. Okay. What about taking your kids fishing in the middle of the lake?
I like that.
That depends on the situation, really.
If the child has a buoyancy vest on, that's not neglect.
Like that.
Anybody else have thoughts on that one? What about this? What about one-time, punishment, one-time capital punishment thing that they slap their kid in the face or something like that for discipline?
As long as that slap doesn't leave a mark or break the skin.
I've never had to hit my kids, so.
You can hit your kid, but you better not break skin or pull blood.
I've always used my voice.
That's you.
But
Other people hit their kids, and it's okay to hit the kid as long as you don't cause a bruise or pull blood or leave a mark.
Yeah, we used to get spankings, but Herbert, today, even using your voice is considered abuse.
Abuse.
Right.
Yep.
If you're using your voice in an angered manner, yes. If you're just being stern and saying to your daughter, no, you're not going to the mall with your girlfriends today, that's not abuse.
Everything you're saying,
Yeah, but
everything you're
everything
saying
is
valid.
perspective.
Very valid.
Right,
Yeah.
right. How about
Respect.
sending your kid to school without breakfast?
Oh,
You're
yeah.
leaving this up to a person who was not there to see this, and then they tell you whether you were being assertive. So you're talking about being assertive versus aggressive. And
My point is this: is that I just gave you, and I wrote these. These are my own writings that I just wrote while we were talking. My point is this: that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions that we asked that not one of us could decide whether it was going to be the same answer, but yet someone could have called CPS on you for these things. This is why I'm making my point that there needs to be definitions that are clear and concise, because right here you would have 5 reasons to call CPS on someone or DPG or whatever, and these aren't really, in reality, we all know that we either have done these things or we've done them ourselves when we were kids. None of this on here is abuse or neglect. It's holy shit, my life was really busy. I forgot to give my kid the toast on the way to school. Or hurry up, man, we're way late. We can't have breakfast right now. Let's go.
Yeah, but Darren, the one time, okay, but it's like Mandy said, it's subjective. One time the kid left the food, the lunchbox on the table. That one time. 5 times, a whole week or 2 weeks, we have a problem.
Okay, this is where I was leading to with this, because it's fair to say that abuse and neglect should have some sort of time extension led to it. It's not based on one event. Now, the thing that kind of makes that different to the death penalty is this. Yeah, it was one event. Like you get the death penalty because you shot someone and killed someone. So, yeah, I get that. But because you forgot to give your kid breakfast, because the shit happens rule went into effect, like people make mistakes, things happen. But does that mean that you should be substantiated on? Does that mean that you should be a bad parent? Does that mean that you should be put under investigation so that they can find something in the long term to put permanency into the situation and keep you away from your kids? No, none of that means this.
But
so that's the problem.
They need to reunify the family. So even if, let's say, you have ADD and you forget to give your child because you don't know how to plan in the morning and you wake up late, blah blah. Well, it's not that you're trying to be neglectful. You just don't have time. But then CPS, the reason they're there is supposed to help you, give you the tools to wake up early and make sure your child gets fed. Like, not just take your child away because you're not feeding it. And maybe there's something, like, they're there to give you the tools to make you better, give you resources to make sure that it doesn't happen.
That's right. And as long as you adhere to what they tell you to do, you're fine. But a lot of people don't want to adhere to it because I don't want to do what they tell me to tell me. I don't.
Right.
Nobody can tell me how to take care of my child.
Say that. Say that. No,
There
but
is
see,
that.
and yes, in theory, that's lovely that they would come and help. And if you did what they said, you wouldn't have your child taken. How unfortunately, it is not the
Right.
case. It
I
is
know.
not
Right.
the case.
And we all are victim of that.
Let me,
It,
let me,
though it, Mandy, I have to say it does happen because it's happening now with somebody I know in New Mexico. I thought the
okay.
child would have been long gone. Nope. They provide service to take care of the mom, to help the mom take care of the child. So every state is different.
Yeah.
So let me touch on what Mandy just said, though, because in the state of Maine, in the actual ombudsman's office and the representative that is appointed this for the attorney general, it states in their report that CPS is given funding to help with the parents.
Right.
Yet they're
Yep.
not helping the parents with that funding.
That's right.
Nope.
That's right.
They
That's
just
it.
make
The funds
make
are
it seem
completely
like
misappropriated, and
Exactly.
they do whatever they have to do to make it seem like that's what they're doing.
what, Martin?
Yep. That's it, Martin. You're right. Absolutely. Nail on the head. They know what to do. They know to send you to this posh, counselor
Yeah.
down the street that
They
means
say
nothing
that they
to
offer
them.
housing, and their way of offering housing is by giving you a piece of paper that basically it says a whole bunch of phone numbers that all lead you to dialing 611 or something like that.
That's
Right.
inhumane.
Yep. Absolutely.
111, whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
There's 10, 15 phone numbers on there. They all lead to the same thing. And that's
Yeah.
But if you watch their website, you watch Jewish Family Services website down here.
That's an entity that
They'll tell you that they offer housing. They do all this stuff. They offer everything. It sounds like such a great, like, man, I want these people a part of my life right now. Like,
Yeah. I just
Yeah.
want to have them.
They'll-
Right.
they'll help
Help
you
me.
get better.
Yeah, you think that they're like,
mean,
you
my-
have to do it. So you're like,
My dad lives up in New Jersey, and he's seen, all he's seen is what he Googles and looks these people up, and him and his wife, they watch the whatever there is
Yeah.
to see on.
Martin, you
And he's
guys are
like,
lucky
"Oh,
that you have these people in
You
your life.
shouldn't have,
what did you do to screw it up, Martin?
you shouldn't have a problem in the world. These people will do everything. They'll
take
buy
care of
you a
everything.
car. They'll take you to work. They'll, anything you need, they'll
Find
help
a
you.
job.
Yeah.
Right, they'll
Oh,
bring
the
deals and
job,
deals. They're
yeah.
doing it all, man. No.
And
I mean,
I'm sure that
you're
they
not-
have done that. They probably have done that for
somebody. They
someone
probably
they
have.
did.
They didn't offer that to. They said they offered it to
No.
me. They did nothing.
Yeah, that was well. They
Yeah.
did. They worked to get you to lose your.
Okay. Oh, they were.
Right. They just walked us
That's
down.
cool.
They walked us all right down the
It's
road
cool.
to get our kids taken.
Because my social worker friend was.
But y'all are both talking.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Martin.
Well, my social worker had a friend, and her friend wanted my daughter specifically, but was very willing to take, my son and my daughter, and because they wanted my children, they made it happen. It didn't
And you
matter
had
what I
already-
did. I did
You already
200 consecutive drug tests. I jumped through all the. I did
He was
everything.
reunified.
I did everything that they asked me to do, and then some. And my kids are still somewhere in Miami right now with a Spanish family, which
Oh,
they're
yes.
primarily. Yeah, I mean, it's.
Well,
Yeah,
which
you're
is
putting
really
in
all of
challenging.
my family members would have been glad to take my kids too.
Oh, yeah,
any and
they're
all of them,
supposed to.
and they all are, but they would not allow my family to even get them.
So then Martin and I met, and we had a child, and then they came back into it. Martin was reunified. He was like the glory.
Everybody
Like,
thought that I was
He was
some
this
great
wonderful
parent.
father,
And then
and
the next day, not so much.
yeah. But anyway, but that happens to everyone, and it's not. It's just pretty baffling how easily they can do what they do, and it's not any one person's fault. It's just a broken system right now.
They can circumvent the court. That's the term. That's
Yeah,
what's
but
called.
did you guys actually know? I was reading an article today, actually, that states that under the justice system, their jurisdictions, their codes, their statutes are not law.
No, they are not
Right,
law.
exactly.
You
We
said
did
that
not
long
know
ago.
any of that. In fact,
Right.
I was told very specifically that they were more powerful than the courts, and whatever they chose would go, and that is what happened. But there was a lot of ignorance on my part and just fear because they had my infant. It was just really um, it was a very well-oiled machine that is being run. Unfortunately, it is not on the side of parents right now, and that has to be. People need to be made aware, and every parent really in the United States should be afraid, because it can happen to anyone.
But
And I
but
Well,
think
you say afraid. I think they should get educated on what they can and cannot do, or should or should not do. Then they don't have to be afraid.
No, they
and
should always
and
be afraid.
I wish I am a rule follower, so and not all the time at all, but I'm pretty much adhere to rules when I'm scared, and
But
Okay,
when it comes
you're
to
you're a rule follower, and I'm a law enforcer.
yeah, and so what?
So
But
if
and what
it's
I'm saying
law,
is,
I enforce. If it's not, I don't enforce it.
So
so
maybe being a rule follower puts you out of work.
what we need to do is educate it on the things that aren't necessarily as black and white as they seem. I know being in law enforcement, that is something that is, very stringent, black and white, and this is the rule, and but the rules are not
And I
always.
tell you what, law enforcement is black and white and discretionary.
well, it should be, and discretionary. A
No,
lot of
it's black, it's white, and it's also discretionary. Because you were going 100 miles per hour, I don't have to give you a ticket. I could give you a warning.
Yeah. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, is it there? Do you ever find yourself, like enforcing a law that's not there because like it's just something that you think is there, but maybe it's not necessarily.
Can't enforce. I can't enforce. I can't enforce a law that's not there because I have to justify.
No, if you
I have to
think something,
justify that the.
It
I have.
seems to
I
be.
have to just. I have to
It seems,
justify that your act was knowingly, intentionally, recklessly, or with criminal negligence. If it doesn't have
That's
one
a,
of those four factors, then it's not a
that's
well,
a
crime.
good example.
that's
what about
that's
what we're
That's
seeing online right now? We're seeing an overabundance of people being asked to show their IDs. You don't have to do that, but yet law enforcement is always asking people, "Show me your ID."
so
You don't have
it's
to
all
show it.
it's all you got in your car.
they pulled us over together, and they didn't. They actually opened our door without any. I mean, it was nothing. It was so weird, Herbert. They opened my door and pulled me out of the car. They had no
You were
reason.
driving along. Wait, let me visualize this. You were driving along, minding your business. They lit you up. They pulled you over. They opened the door and pulled you out of the car.
Yes, I was a passenger in the seat. I'm barefoot. My feet are, Martin. What did they say? He
They
ran a
claim
stop sign, or he ran there was a stop sign and he didn't stop
they
completely.
claim that they like some vehicle that might have fitted our description or something might have.
I never even heard that part.
They were looking for somebody that was like murder or something like that. I don't know.
They
But
were
it was
looking
just
for a description of somebody. Did you fit the description?
No,
wow.
no. It was
No.
we're in a
So
case where we were targeted. It happened twice, and they did things that,
be-
of course, they could not take it in anywhere. But it was. I can't believe I'm saying this on the
Very
air. I'm a little scared, but
what are
we
you
were very.
scared of? Jesus. I
Losing
mean, I'm
your
just
life.
telling you. All I do is give you guys procedures and protocols. I don't
Yeah,
judge. I just give
no,
you procedures and protocols.
Herbert, you may be the
we're
most
scared of
wonderful.
you.
You know what? There's plenty of really great, very admirable police officers and police men and women and people in all sorts of different jobs. But there's also ones that aren't. So that's
Yeah,
There's a
and
lot more that aren't. There are a lot of cops that are not. I agree with you.
okay. So since I know that, here's a question for you, Herbert. As an officer, if you were to arrest someone on a warrant, do you have to read them the rights and the charges?
No. Oh, wait. If I'm arresting them on a warrant, I just inform them that I arrested them on their warrant. Do I have to read them the Miranda? No.
You have to provide that warrant.
Oh, yeah, I have the warrant. I have the warrant with the warrant might be in my computer. And you fit that description of the individual, so I have a warrant for your arrest. So when I bring you into the station, I mean, I'm bringing you into a whole bunch of other people, and they all know you are the guy that the warrant's for. But go back to the Miranda. Do I have to read you a Miranda? No, unless I'm going to question you about the warrant. If I have intention of questioning you about the issue with the warrant, then I should be reading you. You notice I said the word read? I should read you your Miranda.
Okay, because here's the difference between your laws to ours. In the state of Maine, an officer of the law who arrests you, it states they're supposed to read you your rights, provide the warrant for arrest, and read the charges that you've been charged with.
Here too.
Yeah.
They don't do it.
When you go into headquarters and they bring you in, you're probably going to go into an interrogation room. Another person is going to come and do a sit down with you, and they're going to now read you your rights again, and they're going to explain everything to you while you're there.
But that never happened. That's where I'm getting
Well,
at.
I got your drift. That should have happened.
Yeah. That's
That
the
is
thing, Herbert.
that is a violation of Constitution, a violation of due process of law.
I've been there.
So when you called your attorney, which you did, then your attorney should have came down and actually fought that for you.
And he did
That
not,
was-
and he still won't.
Why?
So
Why?
he told me yesterday that I had no right to file a motion for dismiss on my case. Okay, I called and asked the courthouse, and I asked 5 other attorneys, and they said the same thing to me. You have every right to file your own motion for dismiss.
Tell you what, Darren, give him my phone number. Have him call me, okay?
Yes, sir.
And you know,
Darren will give you my phone number, and you can call me.
that
Yeah, I'd
did
like to
happen
get
to us
your
too.
thoughts
I
on
wasn't
that.
even,
Go ahead,
Jenny,
Nancy,
I
what
wasn't
you said?
even aware of my shelter hearing, or in fact, our shelter hearing wasn't approved. We didn't have a warrant. There was nothing like that. And then my lawyer told me that if I tried to appeal it, I would have my rights immediately terminated. So it was real. It's just things are not always black and white, even though they should be when it comes to the law.
I know. And dealing with CPS, that's why I'm trying to work on helping people avoid CPS. Because, see, one of the things I've learned from this show is once you are in, it's hard to get out. It's like, once you see one ant in your house, you probably have thousands of them in there.
Yeah.
Right, but the difference is when you come out of this, you're broke, you don't have your kid, you're destroyed, your soul's tortured. You know, like, you are not the same person as when you came into this. You know, like, once you get out of this system, if you get out, you're destroyed. You're done. You know.
That's why I'm preaching. Let's try to avoid going in. Let's do everything we can to teach people how to avoid going in.
Right, and we can do that, and that's fine. But you have to understand that someone's going to think swimming in a pool on a 115-degree day is different than you. Fishing in the middle of a lake is very different than you. There's still no matter how much. There's so matter how much not reported on. There's still going to be, until these words are defined and clearly stated what they are. It's not going to matter. We can tell them, don't bring your kid to the pool. Don't do this. Don't do that.
The 115 day here in Arizona is normal. Matter of fact, there's kids splashing around in the pool next door to me now. I mean, it's 113 degrees. It's normal. But you leave those kids in the backyard by themselves, that is a target for CPS. Leaving the kids back there without adult supervision.
I think that most of the people who come on this show probably are people who are already involved in CPS or DCF, and so then that begs the question: what do we do now? And you know, unfortunately, this has happened. So what do we do now? And I
All
think
right.
that's
Now, I got another part of that. My other part I'm working on is how to find a good counsel or advocacy. There are a lot of people out there who are advocates. They claim to be advocates to help you, but they're only taking your money and they're not doing anything. So you got to be extremely careful on who you trust with your information and what they're going to do, because they may not do anything for you.
That's right, or make it worse, and that does happen a lot, because really, typically, the
That's
lawyers
right.
that are work for the state, and it's very one-sided. It's very
That's right.
financially, and it's
That's very correct. And I'm working on that subject next, on how to find the right advocacy, the right departments, the right people that can help you or tell you they can't help you, but not just take your money and say they will help you.
Yeah, I think a lot of it. I think Darren has the right idea. Darren just took it upon himself to start. Well, I did too, not as much as he has, but he is and has really taken it upon himself to become legally educated as much as he can, and he's doing great. But it's so hard. We do need each other. Something does have to be done. It's just a hard topic to instill care in everyday people and the people that we need, because it's hard to convince someone that the sky is orange.
This whole thing with CPS and your children is like the elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about. Because I'm not part of that system of CPS, it's mind-blowing, because I've learned everything I've learned about CPS from being on this show and listening to all of you guys, listening to all your stories.
Yeah, you're the rare cat that has had the advantage, and and that's hard, the advantage that you have to have learned this, because most people, they don't have time to be bothered with it. It's a very big.
Well, I have adult children, so therefore I don't have anybody that's going to go to CPS system. But the thing is, my experience dealing with CPS are people who the children should have been taken away. What is a baby doing walking around 3 o'clock in the morning in their diapers in the middle of the street, and the parents are sleeping? And the police are called. Do we just say, "Oh, here's your kid back. Have a nice evening, ma'am"?
Yeah,
right.
I mean, these are all these. Oh, go ahead, Vinny.
I want to share something that I posted out today. Just because I heard about it, so I'm going to share this with you. Okay. It says, Katahdin, Child Welfare System for Mandated Reporters. Mandated reporters, medical professionals, hospitals, staff, schools, personnel, and law enforcement personnel can report non-emergency information related to child abuse and or neglect online using Katahdin Child Welfare System.
Why do I think I heard that before? Like maybe 10, 15 minutes ago.
Well, because mandated
Sounds like
reporting,
you, Herbert.
it's encouraged, highly encouraged, and they encourage you to err on the side of caution. So they encourage you to report something, even if it's highly unlikely. So, and it really has become a huge push. I teach, so I know how dangerous that is. It's just
What else is it, man?
what's that?
Hold on. Lynn closed out of it on me. Give me a second. Okay.
Yeah, getting happy. Report happy.
So,
Vinny,
this
weren't
is-
you just talking about that, Vinny?
oh yeah. So this is a report. The report that went into great details concerning the shortcomings of DHHS and OCFS as identified by the dozens of cases, specific reviews conducted by the ombudsman through the year. In order to make safety decisions correctly during an investigation, 1. enough facts and evidence must be collected, and 2, the facts and evidence need to be interpreted correctly. The report explained this year a survey of cases, specifically the Ombudsman review, found challenges on both areas. And then it goes on to further say, the results of this report were shared with the state legislature Health and Human Services Committee Tuesday and scheduled to be presented to the Government Oversight Committee this coming Friday. Contracted with the Governor's Office and overseeing by the Department of Administration and Final Services of Child Welfare Ombudsman is responsible for assisting Mainers in resolving concerns and complaints with Maine's Child Protective Service Department of the Health and Human Services. Director of Maine's, and it goes on, related, Director of Maine's worst in the nation child welfare system finally resigns.
Wow.
Yeah, that was Todd Landry when he resigned, and then the woman came in and she was under so much fire she left 2 months later. Now I don't know whose hands it is in up here.
I'd like
the district manager throughout Maine is Bobby Jo Johnson.
So she's the new lead person in here.
She's directed out of Portland, and she is the main one that runs all the CPSs.
Perfect. We'll write that down. Hey guys, check this out. So I've been working on a book for a while, and I got the cover done, and this is it. Check this out. Can you see that?
I like that.
Stay calm. Yes, it's coming.
And it's a self-defense guide to CPS stealing your kid. And inside of that, we'll have all kinds of stuff. It should be done next week, and people will be able to buy that. But that's what's coming down the pipe for me.
Wow, congratulations, Darren. That's awesome,
Darren.
So that's that. So if you got any last minute things that you want to get in for the final publish, make sure you get it in here. But we're
by the way,
yes, sir.
I just want you to know, everybody, I put my phone number in there in your chat. If you look in your chat, you'll see my phone number.
Oh, yeah. There you go, Vinny. So I don't even have to do it for you. But
all right, Vinny. So you call me whenever you like. You want to call me tonight? Call me tonight. I don't care.
Call them tonight. Coffee, dogs, and daughters. Dogs, whatever.
I'm looking to see if I can find it.
Yeah, it's right there in the little.
Look in your chat. Tap on that little thing that's got a lock on it. You see, it's like a chat thing.
Yeah,
see the little people. Yeah, okay.
All right. Last words here, Josie. What do you got, dear?
Nothing much. Always keep hope. Always remember that we're doing this for the kids and for the future generations, and to always have hope that it's never going to be over.
I like that. I like that a lot. And you're definitely
that's awesome, Josie.
That one. You definitely are pushing the limits on that one for sure. All right. What about you, Vinny?
Keep fighting the fight. Don't give up on your children.
Yeah. That's just it. Keep fighting. Andy, Martin.
I love the theme of what has been said so far. I think that keeping the hope, keeping positive, because as long as we're moving in a positive direction, that's the universe will follow. So it's hard to come on here and not bring up the negative, but it's critical. I think that Josie has the right idea. The hope is where it's at, even if we have to create it, make it up, believe it.
Okay.
If we believe it. So thank you for that.
Create it is absolutely right. Create it is absolutely right. We can create anything that we want to. You just got to stay positive and keep your mind on it. You're absolutely right.
I miss our kids so much.
That's facts. 100%.
Yeah.
Herbert?
Just as you think you're losing hope, I want you to think about the country of Canada. When you think about Canada, you think about Jonesy. When you think about Jonesy, think about that little picture you saw of her and her granddaughter being reunited. we've been with Jonesy on the show for quite a few months. She did not have that child with her. She has it
No,
with her
she
now. So can it happen? Yes, it can.
And it
And
will.
avoid at all costs CPS. Avoid, learn what you can all about CPS. There's books. I have books. I purchased books. I think I showed you guys one night before. I showed it to you again. This is a book I purchased myself on how to avoid.
This is the book you need to be purchasing right here. Let me show you it.
Can you see it? It's just a little book, but I have other books. And it tells me a lot of things about how to avoid being on the radar of CPS.
Yeah.
And that's I'm talking to parents who have new children, even ones who are planning to have children should read this book. If you're planning to have children, so you know what to do, what not to do when you go into the hospital getting ready to have a child, because they'll take the kid from you at the hospital bed.
Especially nowadays, now with the AI that Vinny's talking about, my goodness, it's so
Yes.
true.
Yes.
And they're watching it.
Hey,
too.
one last
They're
thing.
watching it.
One last thing. I think I told Darren. I don't know if I told you guys. It's interesting how if you adopt a dog or a cat, the adoption agency actually comes to your home to inspect it to make sure it's suitable for that animal. But yet, if you're having a child, nobody comes to your house. You go to the hospital, you have the child, and you come home.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
You know, that's
Good
crazy.
point.
It's absolutely crazy. That's why they did this stuff. But my last thing is I'm gonna go with Martin. I miss my kids so much too. Every day, nothing goes by without thinking about it. But CPS bonus here. Thanks a lot, guys. I'm out of here.
Have a good night, guys.
Man, I swear it's all bad. My kids was kidnapped. It was all for the cash. My kids was kidnapped. It was all for the cash. My kids was kidnapped. They was taken with lies.
It started with the way I look, progressed to how I carried it. They couldn't stand a man like me, could understand what marriage is. Providing for my wife and kids the way that I inherited. Mama raised a man that don't know nothing but to care the kids. How can they just come and take what's mine and I ain't caught a case? Never have a CPS, but still my rights were stripped away. Fighting for my right to parent cause I got tats upon my face. See through all your blatant lies, I be the one y'all love to hate. It's wrong what y'all out here doing, lying, taking people's kids. Breaking up a happy home cause y'all don't like the way we live. Long as we providing no abuse, then y'all should mind your business. Stop messing with my right to live. You're breaking laws, release my kids. Tired, I can take it, this is real and I'ma bear it all. Lawyers, they appointed me, never even took my calls. They falsified my drug screens, flat out lied and that ain't all. This whole case a cover up and they ain't gotta follow laws. Kidnapped.
They was taken with lies. CPS telling stories, trying to ruin our lives. My kids was kidnapped. It was all for the cash. I'm forced to kid, child rape. Man, I swear it's all bad. My kids was kidnapped. They was taken with lies. CPS telling stories, trying to ruin our lives. My kids was kidnapped. It was all for the cash. I'm forced to kid, child rape. Man, I swear it's all bad. My kids was kidnapped. They was taken with lies. CPS telling stories, trying to ruin our lives. My kids was kidnapped. It was all for the cash, I'm forced to kid, child rape. Man, I swear it's all bad. My kids was
Reaching out for
kidnapped.
help, come on tell me, do y'all feel my pain? Watch my wife cry herself to sleep and I can do a thing. On the verge of losing it, swear I'm about to go insane. Praying that I have the strength to make it through another day. Can't begin to understand all the stuff my kids go through. The pain they feel or what they think for real, it's hard to bear the truth. Snatched away, place with strangers, broke me when I heard the news. Rotting in the prison cell for something I ain't even do. The fight is real and we won't stop till all the kids is coming home. Playing games but they ain't know they dealing with the king of thrones. Lawyered up, got a pit bull, yeah, now it's really on. He did take my family back and trust me, we don't stand alone. This right here's for everyone who going what we going through. Be the voice for all of y'all, the pain y'all feel, I feel it too. This is wrong, it's time for change, pushing hard to make the news. Austin, Trinity, Kiara, Bella, Hope, came this one's for you. Kidnapped.
This song is for all of us facing the struggle. Our kids are being taken with lies and corruption. It's not just happening to me, it's happening to everyone all across this nation. I've seen it firsthand. I've read your stories, your letters, emails. I've read reports, actual findings. Seen it happening to my family, my friends, strangers. We are parents and we're losing our rights based on lies that are being fed thanks to the court. DCF and all these agencies use our kids to keep themselves in business. Create false scenarios, change the evidence, pace wars, lie under oath. This has gotta stop. This is wrong. Kidnap.
And I am here to share an important message with you. Remember, every minute in the USA, a child is taken by CPS. Watch CPS Victims Hunting Justice every Monday through Friday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time to learn about the destruction of families. Join us on this journey as we shine a light on the struggles and seek justice for those affected by CPS intervention. Together, let us raise awareness and work towards creating a better future for our children and families. Tune in to CPS Victims Hunting Justice and stand with us in the fight for a fair and just child protection system.